And we're live, I think. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the deck. Let us know in the comments if everything is working well for everybody, if you can hear us well. As you might notice, the format is slightly different from the previous time, so we changed a little bit of things on the setup. However, when it comes to guests, it's still the same people. I don't want to say old because my guest is not really old. But hi, Sam, how are you doing?
Hi, Alexis. I'm glad to be back again. It's a new format. It's kind of cool. I don't have to play the game.
Yes. So the new format, as you can see, we're both sitting now in front of this beautiful key art for season 2. We will show you a bit of gameplay, but this time we decided to have somebody who's an expert at the game. Siddharth is in the background. He'll be playing the game for us. Say hi to Siddharth. He's already playing and focused. So hopefully you won't die too much this time. And the good thing is that for us, we'll be able to focus 100% on your questions, and Sam will be able to provide you as much information as possible on everything you want to know about the game, about season 2, about what's coming after, what are the key things we're working on right now, and all that. Is there anything you want to say before we get started?
No, I think with the new format, we can focus a lot more on sharing all the things that are coming up and also some of the things that are behind the scenes, just to share a bit more about what goes on. And I think that's something that a lot of people are interested in, and also what's upcoming.
Cool. So it's something that we've heard the community said that you appreciate that we take the time to answer your question, but sometimes it's a bit difficult for you to get the full answer and pay attention to what's going on in the gameplay. So hopefully this new format works better for everybody. Better quality footage thanks to Siddharth. Better answers thanks to Sam. I'm just doing the same job as always. So, all right. So I think Siddharth's already playing, so we can switch already to show a bit of gameplay and start with the first question. So before we get started, the format for today, we're going to focus first on the questions we've been gathering from all of you since last Friday. So we've been asking you to give us some questions on Reddit, on Discord. We've been collecting those questions, and we're going to start reading those first. But if you have additional questions that we haven't answered by the time we go through all of them, feel free to ask them on the chat. We'll also try to keep an eye on Discord and on Reddit to see if there's anything additional you want to know, and we'll try to answer as many questions as possible. So while Siddharth is showing us his amazing skills, I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but he's playing the Frigate already. Cool. So first question, this was not a question asked by the community, this is my personal question. Samuel, how far are you from unlocking the Frigate?
I'm actually maybe about 20 Smuggler marks away from unlocking the Frigate blueprint. I have the materials. I did a couple of runs of Megafort actually before yesterday's patch. So I still have some progress to do.
Cool.
But
you're closer than me then. I hope I'll get it before the next patch, but no guarantee. So first question, and obviously first topic that I think a lot of the community has on its mind since the launch of Y2 Season 2 is regarding the changes we've done to the Smuggler Pass, right? So it's pretty clear to a lot of players that we've changed the way the Smuggler Pass works from an infamy-based system to a dedicated Smuggler point system. The first question the community has is, why did we decide to do that change in the first place?
I think how we wanted to evolve the Smuggler Pass itself was to create a bit more long-term setup for the future. So in the past, where we had Smuggler points, which is really tied to Infamy itself, if we wanted to make the progression a bit faster, we will need to increase the Infamy. But that will also affect the progression in the game. And especially for new players, this might throw off, make things too fast or too slow for them to really get into the game. But this also opens up opportunities for us to make further improvements, further tweaks, improve, say, the rewards for certain activities, grant more Smuggler points perhaps for activities that don't really give that much infamy or no infamy at all. So by detangling the infamy from the Smuggler points, it does give us a much more flexibility in being able to adjust and help players with their progression in general. And just to be clear as well, the intent of this is not to change the pace of the Smuggler Pass progression. It's to make it a bit more flexible as a system, but we wanted to keep the progression the same. So that intention has always been the same since we have started looking into this. and that's something that we are trying to make sure that it is indeed the same rate of progression as in previous seasons.
Okay, cool. Yes, that was going to be my next question. So the intent was not to slow down things for players, but I guess the main question that players will have as a follow-up is, in that case, why can't they get smuggler points from just sailing around, sinking ships randomly? Why is it so heavily linked to like engaging in specific activities or world events now, or challenges?
I think the goal here is to get players engaged in activities and challenges, and it's I mean, for sure, you understand it's always fun to just sail around and sink ships. But the goal here is so that we can give players a taste of a different variety of activities, and so that there is something that you can say, okay, I have a 20-minute play session, I have a 30-minute play session, I can sit down and play for 4 hours. Then that's something that players can start to plan what activities they would like to engage with, and then go for those. And then when you complete those activities, you feel like not only you're making progression in the Smuggler Pass, but you're also making progression, making progress in your own improvements of your loadouts, in conquering different activities as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more, because obviously from a player's perspective today, they log in on the launch of Y2S2, they can really feel the progression is slower than before, right? So can you tell us a bit more, like, are we doing any things to try to bring that progression back to where it was before the update? And if so, what are we doing?
Right. So obviously with the Smuggler Pass update itself, the change in mechanics will need some fine-tuning. And when we launched from last week for Season 2, we realized that, okay, there were some activities that were kind of missed out, like in terms of rewarding smuggler points. Those would be the Megafort, as well as Death Tides as well, actually. Right. So our goal here was to try and make sure that all of the issues were fixed, and to make sure that the progression was about the same. So we took about a couple of days to gather the live data on how fast players are actually progressing, and based on that data, we make some data-driven approach. We take some data-driven decisions to kind of make sure that progression is the same as before. So with yesterday's patch notes, we did announce that we are finding that the progression is a bit slower than expected. And that's what players have been feeling over the past week or so. And so in next week's patch, we'll be increasing those amounts by quite a bit. So hopefully this will put the earn rate of smuggler points back to where it was before, to make sure that things are as consistent as possible with previous seasons.
Yeah, so essentially, to summarize a little bit, so the intention is to have a similar progression as before. We've identified some issues that have been fixed already yesterday with the Megafort, with Death Tides not giving smuggler points. We are monitoring players' progression with the Smuggler Pass in general, and potentially looking at increasing the smuggler points as early as next week. And we're continuing to monitor to make sure that we bring it back to the same pace of progression.
Yes, that's correct. So week on week, we'll review the data again, and to try and make sure that things are back on track. And also because we had a couple of issues, and we know that the progression is a bit slower in the first week or two, we have taken the initiative to make some quick adjustments to the event that started yesterday, to kind of make the Smuggler Pass challenges easier, and also increase some of those rewards. So you will see that some of the challenges that are linked to the time limited events do indeed give more smuggler points, and that is sort of to make sure that we kind of make up for the first week and the second week as well, just to put it on the same line of progression as previous seasons. So we'll continue to monitor, we'll continue to make sure that we make adjustments to smuggler points in general. And exactly because we now have this new mechanic, we have that flexibility to be able to make those adjustments without affecting infamy or without affecting gameplay progression in general.
Cool, very cool. Just to add to this, I also want to jump back on what you said that we monitor data. When we say we monitor data, it usually comes first with the signals we hear from the community, right? So to all of you who've been going to Reddit, to Discord, or social media in general, and informing us on the issues you've had, thank you very much, because that's really helped us. Like, it really helps us identify what are the main things that are causing an issue for you as a player, and then it allows us to kind of investigate, look at the data, understand the full scope of the problem, and identify the areas of improvements.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, Alexis is the one here that's really busy with looking at everything across different social media platforms. So even before the game goes live, for example, when we release the patch notes, we take a look at how the community is responding,
Yes.
how things are being received. We do some additional checks to see, okay, can we address those issues even before we
Yes.
release the game. And I think in Season 2, when we released the game compared to yesterday's patch, there was a lot of things that were ongoing last week to kind of look at different threads of discussions, from things like bugs to Smuggler Pass in general, to say, I think there were some discussions about Deep Iron, Gildmarks, crashes. All of these were being investigated in parallel to kind of see how we can deal with all these issues with a very fast turnaround time, and that resulted in yesterday's patch.
Yes. Just a small clarification, it's not just me, we have an entire team of amazing community managers. So shout out to Gail, to Catherine. We also have a whole bunch of insiders and keepers who are always ready to just give us a red flag signaling when something's wrong. And I see a lot of them in the chat today, so thank you for tuning in, everybody, and thank you for all your help getting feedback. I also want to give a bit of a second to talk about what's happening on the screen, because I think Siddharth went straight into a big Megafort battle, and I feel like the action is quite intense. I don't know, it looks pretty sick to me, but I hope you're all enjoying the gameplay that Siddharth is providing. It's definitely an improvement compared to previous streams. Don't want to say anything, but
Yeah. Actually, I mean, speaking about the Megafort, just on the side as well, when we did internal play testing, I think I was only involved in play sessions with a bit lesser amount of players, so like around 6, 7. And I think the first time that when Megafort went live with the patch last week, when I played it in the evening, it was kind of really fun to kind of see 20 people at the same time trying to barrage all of the different attacks on the Commodore. And I think the lightning attack is a bit lightning cannons were a bit blinding, but it's kind of cool to see so many people here, as you can see on the screen as well with
yes. And one more thing before we go back to questions. Siddharth is very interested in knowing what you all think about his skills of playing the game. So if you have any comments, if you have any tips, if you feel like he could do better, or on the contrary, if you're amazed by his incredible skills, please let us know. He'll work very hard so that the next stream he'll be even better.
I mean, he's already doing very well. Like
Yes.
at this point in time, in previous streams, I would have already died like 5 or 6 times answering questions and trying to play the game.
I think the fact that he can focus is already a good help for him. But anyways, back to questions. I know, so again, we know there's a lot of questions on the chat. We'll do our best afterwards to scroll back up and go through all of them. We just want to go through all the questions that have been asked since last weekend on Reddit and Discord first. So we have a few more to go, and then we'll get back to the chat. So next question is about Gildmarks. So Gildmarks, the new seasonal currency, and by the way, the new permanent season currency. This is the currency that will remain in the game. It will be reset every season, but it will remain the same currency every season. As we know also from community feedback that introducing a new currency every season was getting a bit tiring and confusing. So we're sticking to Gildmarks, but the question from the community is, Gildmarks are only currently available from specific events and activities. When are we going to have a patch to officially switch completely to the new currency?
I think that patch was last week. We have kind of officially switched to the new currency. I think Gildmarks is our response to a player's sentiment that every season we're introducing a new currency, and those currencies are being why do you keep switching the currencies? And so we've tried to streamline that with Gildmarks, and unfortunately I think there's one issue with the bounty rewards that are still rewarding Gildmarks. So that will be fixed in the upcoming update. And when we did additional investigations and checks, it looks like that's the only activity that's still awarding Quiver Bars. So Gildmarks will be here to stay. They will be the seasonal currency, and it's live. It's there. So if there are any activities that don't really award Gildmarks, and players do feel very strongly about it, let us know so that we can also keep that on our radar to evaluate. First, I think more importantly, we don't want to add Gildmarks to everything, right? That kind of might destroy the economy, in the sense where you can redeem Gildmarks for different items, including silver. So we are trying to be very careful with those. But at the same time, where the rewards are due, we would like to make sure that players have the appropriate rewards as well. One of the areas where we added Gildmarks recently was the Megafort itself. So the Megafort initially was not intended to have Gildmarks, but what we have done is we realized that spending that amount of time to engage in this activity didn't really justify the rewards, so we bumped it up and we also included Gildmarks as part of it. So keep your feedback coming and we'll be able to make these adjustments
Yes.
as needed.
I'm not sure you mentioned, I might have missed it. I think there's also one additional change that's coming with the mid-season update, which is you will be able to sell your Gildmarks and any remaining previous season's currency for silver. So like I said at the beginning, the Gildmarks stay in the game. It will stay the same seasonal currency every season, but at the end of the season, we'll reset the Gildmarks. Before the season ends, basically any Gildmarks you have that's not been used, as long as you have unlocked everything you wanted to unlock in the season, you can basically exchange those Gildmarks for silver. So you don't lose the Gildmarks when we do the reset. So we'll communicate more about this. We'll make sure to repeat that message so everybody knows. But yeah, it's not available yet. It will be available with the mid-season update coming, I think in 4 or 5 weeks.
Yep. So I think the question that a lot of people had were, what about my past seasonal currency? And those will be coming in a mid-season update whereby you can exchange them for silver. And the motivation for having Gildmarks also redeemable for silver is that we also ran into situations whereby, hey, at the end of a season, you have like 5 or 10 seasonal currency left, and like you don't really want to exchange it for anything that is that you already have, or things that or like you don't have enough for those, right? So having that ability to exchange it for silver does give you something that you can actually use it for.
Yes. Cool. Are we ready to jump? Oh my God, Siddharth. So before the stream started, we had a bet or challenge for Siddharth, and we were wondering if he was going to be the first player on this Devstream on the deck to not die during the show. Unfortunately, he failed. So once again, guys, if you have any tips that you can give Siddharth on how not to die in his battle against the Megafort, send them over. We'll give you a full recap after the stream, Siddharth. Okay? Wave if you're okay. Very cool. All right. So next batch of questions about the Frigate. Obviously, Frigate is I won't say a pretty big topic for this season. We know a lot of you.
It's pretty large.
It's a large topic, yes, a very large topic. So the Frigate came out. Obviously, there was a lot of expectations. Everybody was very excited. We've been talking and teasing about large ships coming to the game since launch, basically. One of the key things we said before it was released that we really wanted to take the time to make sure it made sense to the game. It brought something new. It was different. It wasn't necessarily competing with other ships, but bringing something different, etc., etc. So I think the good summary of how it went is that people are super excited with the Frigate. Overall, people are very happy with the Frigate, but there's a few things that could have done better. The first question is, I guess from a player's perspective, because they saw all the trailers and they had this expectation of the Frigate being this all-powerful ship that would do devastating damage, right? Not saying that's not the case, but basically we decided to go with a tank-based role for the Frigate. a lot of players are asking why did we decide to change from a DPS to a tank, and whether it was a last minute change or something planned for a long time. Why did we decide to change from the payback perk to the resolve perk? Why did we remove gun ports? Basically, why didn't we just go ahead with the Frigate as a DPS?
Right. I think what we have seen so far in the past few seasons has been the ship of the season has always been DPS, DPS, DPS. And when we evaluate how we want to position ships and weapons and equipment in general, we look at what are the different activities that the players can, the different actions that players can do in combat, right? And that lets us analyze, okay, is the DPS archetype performing well? Is the healing archetype performing well? Is the tanking archetype performing well? Generally in the game, right? And that's where we look at opportunities for us to position different equipment, different perks and different ships to fulfill those needs in the game. So in this particular case, we felt that the tank archetype or that playstyle was a bit lacking. And from a lot of different social media posts, we also understand that players want, there's a group of players that do want that ability to tank and make sure that they can take that damage for their allies as well. So rather than position the Frigate as a DPS and you know, be the same as previous seasons, we did decide to put it as a tank first, right? And that's not to say, like what you mentioned, the damage is not sufficient. In fact, the damage is comparable to a lot of different DPS ships, given that it's a large ship as well. And so with it now being positioned as a tank, naturally we need to adjust the number of gun ports just by a slight bit to make sure that those are in line with other ships as well, so that DPS ships do still fall within that DPS category, and the Frigate can perform its role as a tank as well.
Cool, very cool. So a lot of players are also feeling like the Frigate doesn't have, I mean, I guess you kind of answered this already, but they feel like the broadsides deal less damage than other ships. Do you know why they feel that way? Do you have any recommendation on like how, because you mentioned that actually the DPS is actually pretty on par with other DPS ships, so how can we help them feel the full power of the Frigate? What would be your best advice?
I think for the Frigate itself, what's special with large ships is having 2 auxiliary slots. So when you do try out the Frigate, and at the start of the season, there is a contract that allows you to take control of a Frigate and deliver it to an outpost. Oops, spoilers. But okay, that's quite early on.
Right.
That's quite early on. But you get a feel of how the Frigate feels like, and I think it's equipped with a bombard, it's equipped with culverins, and maybe the broadsides do feel a bit less powerful, maybe because it's the realization might be a bit need some fine-tuning there. But in general, when you do fire the auxiliary weapon, it does feel great, where you have a lot of different rockets that's being able to fire at the same time. Now, I want to go back to the part about DPS for Frigates. Our goal here is to provide options for players. It's not to say that, okay, the Frigate is a tank and therefore you should play it as a tank. You could play the Frigate as a DPS as well, depending on your loadout, right? I think Siddharth was mentioning a build right before the stream that's like, okay, there's this new build whereby you need to equip torpedoes, where you need to make sure that all of your torpedoes hit, and that deals quite a significant amount of damage. So we want to introduce different equipment and different styles and different options for players. That's why you also see things like item ascension, where you can customize the perks accordingly to put your ship in a position whereby you can enjoy the archetype. I'll go in general.
Very cool. So this is more of a broader question, but not to go into too much specific, because I think you answered the topic of like DPS quite extensively already. Do we have any plans to do balancing for the frigate in the future, in general?
I think we do have indeed plans to balance everything in general, including the frigate. One of the key concerns more recently was survivability in ships. That was mentioned towards the end of season 1. And when we look at balance in season 2, what we released with season 2 was to increase 2 areas, right? First, we did a small improvement to brace recovery across ships, and then we also increase the ability to navigate. So there are some furniture buffs that do help improve your speed, your acceleration, which allows you to dodge attacks more specifically. So balance is something that we are looking at constantly, and it's not something like, okay, players complain a lot about it and then we look at it, and when there's lesser feedback we don't look at it. We always look at balance, and we are doing it on a very regular cadence now. So in this sense, now with season 2 released, we are looking at data again over the past week to kind of see which ships are outperforming, which are underperforming, and we'll make those adjustments accordingly.
Cool. I also want to use this opportunity to kind of like do a bit of promotional work, because obviously the frigate is still fairly new, right? So
Yeah.
we know some players have already maxed out the frigate, experimented enough with it, and find the optimal build. We've seen some pretty interesting threads on Reddit, some comments on Discord about how to make the frigate shine in the best way possible. But if you don't really know how to go, which weapons to equip, the best way to go is still Skull and Bones Tools.
Yes.
The website. So type Skull and Bones Tools website. I'm not sure yet if there's any like great builds for the frigate uploaded there, but usually the community does share their builds there. So eventually you'll be able to go there and see what are the possible builds for the frigate and what builds could work best for you, and hopefully will help you like identify which weapons to equip on it and get the best out of the frigate as quickly as possible.
Yeah, speaking of builds, one thing that we have released in season 2 as well is the ability for you to save and load loadouts. That's one improvement step that we are trying to make sure that the customizability of your ship is less annoying. It has less friction.
Yes.
It
Easier to
allows you
swap between builds.
to swap between builds. So let's say say if you are fighting against the Megafort, right? Maybe Demi cannons won't be the best based on your playstyle. Maybe something longer range like a bombard would help you hit the central keep a bit better. But for fighting against an enemy that moves really fast, maybe a mortar or bombard doesn't really work that well. You want something like rockets and all that. So this allows you to kind of be able to swap builds quite quickly on shore without you needing to have it equipped on a different ship as well. So this is just one way in which we want to encourage a bit more theory crafting and a bit more strategy when you want to engage in certain activities. So we'll continue to make some further QOL improvements in this area as well, so that at its core for our game, naval combat is something that is enjoyable, and it's something that players find interesting to find new ways to play the game as well.
Yep. And before we move on, I just also wanted to highlight that Skull and Bones Tool is a website that is 100% built, managed, updated by an amazing community member called Heinz. So thank you very much, Heinz, for all the great work you're doing. I know even internally in the dev team, everybody's amazed by your work. So thank you so much. And if you don't know Skull and Bones Tools, go check it out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
One more question, actually 2 more questions on the frigate before we move on. The first one is, can you tell us a bit more about dead zones? Why did we decide to implement dead zones? Are we planning to add more dead zones or remove them completely? Because there's a bit of a mixed bag of opinion, right? Some people think the dead zones as they are great because it's a balance between a bit more realism without making the game feel weird when you aim, without making it too frustrating for people. Some others will be like, we should have dead zones in the front. Some players don't want dead zones at all. So why the decision behind implementing dead zone in the first place, and do we have plans to change the dead zones in the future?
Right. So the decision behind implementing dead zones is affected by a couple of different reasons, as you mentioned. First, there's realism. Second, there's gameplay, and then there's also balance. Right. So it's kind of tricky to make sure that the frigate does feel well, does perform well as well. And just for a bit of context, when we showed frigate to a bunch of players at a very early stage, and with very early numbers, even though frigate was positioned as a tank, it was doing so much damage, and well, the easier approach here would be, okay, let's reduce the gun ports, let's reduce the amount of damage. Maybe for large ships, let's reduce the amount of damage. But that didn't feel that satisfying, right? I think there's already a comment about, oh, okay, it doesn't feel that powerful, even though it really is in line with other ships. So we didn't want to affect that feeling of you being able to bring a hulking ship and being able to deal a lot of damage. And so the idea that was brought about was, how about let's introduce dead zones, especially for a large ship. When you look at when you rotate between the different quadrants, you'll notice that at certain camera angles, it feels a bit less realistic, in the sense that, you know, you can aim like diagonally, and then there's no crew there, and so your weapons kind of go towards the side, which isn't that great. And that was a different point of feedback as well in terms of realism. So our intention was to add dead zones to those diagonal parts in between the different quadrants. And when we tried to add dead zones on 4 different dead zones, both 2 in front and 2 behind, then that felt a bit annoying, right? Especially because we know that the general rotation of weapons for players is, you go to the bow, you fire your weapons, you go to your broadside, you fire your weapons, and then you go to your auxiliary, and then you go back to your bow. So there's a nice pace and there's a nice rhythm to that rotation. And adding a dead zone in front between the bow and the broadside parts really disrupted that flow. So we didn't want to affect the gameplay. We want to make sure that there is some sort of realism, and at the same time the gameplay balance is fine. So we did a middle ground and a compromise whereby we added dead zones towards the back, so that players need to be a bit more situationally aware of their enemies, try and face their enemies as much as possible as a tank archetype. And so you're a bit weaker when you're engaging with enemies behind you. So I think that has worked quite well with what we have seen so far in internal tests as well as on live. And I hope that players will be able to appreciate this nice middle ground between realism, gameplay, and comfort as well.
Cool, very cool. One more question, and this one is a bit of a difficult one, because I know it's something we want to do, but it's not as easy as it sounds. So a lot of people were surprised, or not surprised, but yeah, I guess surprised that the Frigate came out and we didn't, I want to say, seize the opportunity to also release a skin for the Frigate, knowing that we released a skin for the Brigantine in Y2 Season 1. I think a lot of people were quite impressed by the skin. They thought it was quite nice. I guess the general question is, like, are we planning to add more skins in the game? And why isn't there a skin for the Frigate already?
Right, so we released our very first ship skin in Y2 Season 1, which was quite well received by the community for the Brigantine. And honestly, when we were trying to deliver the Frigate, we are nervous as well. It's our first large ship, right? And this is something that players have been asking for a very, very long time. And we wanted to make sure the Frigate was good first. But ship skins do take time to make, right? The reason why it is it looks beautiful and all that is because the model does change when you equip the ship skin. So it's not just like a recolor. It does take time to make sure that it is of good quality, it's performant, it's to the player's needs and what they desire. So there's a lot of iteration and there's a lot of polish that's involved in those. And we started with Brigantine, right? In Y2 Season 1, which was actually a ship that was available in Year 1 at the very beginning. So it does take time for us to make ship skins, But when we make ship skins, we want to make sure it's cool, and we want to make sure that players really appreciate it. So I know there have been a few comments so far on like let's create some skins for some other ships. When are the different ships gonna have a different ship skin? Let us know what ship or what not just what ship, but what silhouette players really want, and that will help us to understand where we can make those ship skins as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I push you a little bit and,
Yeah.
and force you to maybe tease if there's any ship skin coming anytime soon for any specific ship?
There is a ship skin, but you have to stay tuned to find out which ship it's.
But it's
for.
not the Frigate.
It's not the Frigate. Not so soon.
Okay.
Frigate will take some time.
It's coming in season 3.
No comment.
Okay, fine. I tried, I tried my best. All right. Another big topic of this season is obviously the new resource that is essential to the crafting and upgrading of the Frigate, which is deep iron, right? The new resource basically from this season. So a lot of the comments when we launched the season, obviously it's all kind of linked to the Frigate, to the Megafort. Everybody was super excited about Frigate, wanted to craft it right away. Everybody was super excited about the Megafort, wanted to get as much rewards from the Megafort to help them with upgrade the Frigate. The main feedback is essentially that it's can be a bit hard to find enough deep irons to progress at a pace that is comfortable. So are we planning to increase the amount of deep iron that can be obtained for the Megafort, for example, or activities in general?
So this is indeed one of the topics that we received very early signals upon the Year 2 Season 2 launch last week, and that's where we kind of scrambled the team together to kind of see what are the opportunities that we can do to make sure that deep iron is indeed accessible to players as much as possible. So in yesterday's patch, we increased the deep iron by about 33% from the Megafort itself. So from 4 to 5, it's now 5 to 7. And at the same time as well, deep iron can be obtained through the Smuggler pass, right? So as players progress throughout the game, and with the adjustments to Smuggler pass points as well, we should see an increase in rate in obtaining deep iron items in general. And not just that, the time limited event that launched this season yesterday does give you the opportunity to exchange event currency for deep iron as well. So you can get them from the event vendor, and we hope that with these changes, players will be able to get their frigate much earlier, as well as the upgrades for their frigates. For now, when we look at data, we find that it's at a comfortable pace after those adjustments, but we'll definitely keep monitoring to make sure that the progression is at where we want.
Cool. So same thing, like let us know following yesterday's update, how do you feel about the amount of deep iron you're getting from the Megafort and from activities in general. If you still feel like it's too slow, let us know. Like I said, like Sam said, we are looking at the data, we are looking at how fast people get deep iron, unlock the frigate, craft the frigate, upgrade the frigate. So we are monitoring this very closely. Your feedback is very helpful in helping us decide what to do, basically, on how to adjust. So I'm going to move the next questions a bit faster because we have quite a lot, and I also want to make sure we have time for questions in the chat. Another big topic, obviously, with this season is the Megafort. So there's a couple of things. Some players have been asking that we change the end of activity timer for the Megafort. Currently, when you end up, you finish the Megafort, you're locked with the timer. I think it's 300 seconds. So players are asking if there's a way for us to reduce this timer or give them the option to manually leave so that they're not really locked behind this timer.
Right. Actually, this has been resurfaced as an item. I think generally because Megafort Woven Hall is also having some issues whereby the Armada is spawning even when it's successful. That will be fixed pretty soon. But for the end of activity timer, it can be a bit long, 5 minutes, whereby players need to wait for that. They can either quit the session and join, but that's not very intuitive. it is something that we are looking into, for an option for players to leave the server prematurely. But with all QOL items in the entire game, we need to prioritize them and make sure that the benefit to players is there. I know that there is some value to players for this, but we wanted to make sure that our focus first is ensuring that we fix all the bugs. Right? There's no real benefit to introduce something that is really buggy, or there's not much benefit to doing improvement when there are so many issues with the key gameplay. So when it comes to gameplay experience, right, we need to balance between spending time on bugs and also making sure that the quality of life that features that players do expect are coming out, and at the same time balance the content creation and the feature creation for the upcoming season as well. So it's a very delicate balancing act, but we want to reassure players that it is not unnoticed. It's something that we know and we have taken that as a feedback, and we are actively looking into it.
Okay. Great. Next question. Also, I know this is a pretty important topic. So, Megafort being an instanced large group activity, some players are concerned that players join the activity without really knowing what to expect, without being fully prepared, without being having the ship at the right ship rank. So, are we planning to add any kind of minimum level requirement or any kind of requirement in general for players to join the Megafort to make sure they have the right ship, the right loadout, the right level to be able to contribute to the fight?
I think there are two areas here that we are looking to address. First of all is that definitely one of the key concerns that players have raised up is new players just got their Frigate, right? They haven't really upgraded it. They haven't made sure that the ship rank is at 15. And so when you just start going into Megafort again, you realize that a ship rank 11 or 12 or even sometimes below that is not really contributing that much to the fight, right? We are looking into a way which we can enforce a certain minimum level requirement for that. But also at the same time, I think one of the bigger issues for activities across the game that we are trying to make improvements to is your ability to judge how difficult this challenge is. And that applies to world events, that applies to time limited events, that applies to contracts. We want to look into ways in which we can improve that readability of say you spot a ship, you know exactly what they're good at, what they're bad at, and at the same time whether or not your ship is sufficiently equipped and can take on that challenge. So minimum level requirement is one way in which we are looking and exploring to see whether we can enforce that. But at the same time, we don't want to try and limit that as much as possible. So it's a bit of a conundrum here. But yes, in the longer term, we are trying to see how we can improve the readability of the challenge for those events as well. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Are we planning to implement a rule that would kick out players from the Megafort in case they are not actively contributing or playing? Basically, if they're AFK and just sitting around, is there a way we can just add a system that kicks them out from the instance?
Right. For AFK, we already have an AFK timer. So if you're not responding actually without any input for quite some time, you'll be kicked from the server. But apart from because sometimes it can be hard to judge, right? If let's say you are there trying to soak damage for your teammates, we don't want to accidentally mark you as AFK for those. So a bit more medium to longer term, we are looking at ways in which we can kind of scale the rewards according to your contribution. I think for players that have played year one, we have seen some feedback consistently, just a bit here and there, that I dealt maybe 80% of damage to this world event, and I died at the last minute and I didn't get rewards, right? Or somebody who did 5% of damage got the same rewards as me. So we are looking at a way where we can extend and make our system a bit more flexible for us to improve that ability to reward players for their contribution and for their activity participation. So for example, if you contributed a lot towards healing, towards tanking, towards dealing damage to activities, we could give you even more rewards or bonus for that. So that would kind of help with the feeling of doing a lot of work and having your group mates do very little on the same activity. And I hope that would improve that feeling of I need to be involved.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, moving on to ships as a topic in general. Let's talk a bit about some of the plans we may or may not have. Let me see which question I want to pick first. So ship skins we covered already. Something's happening. We don't know when or what, but something's happening. But it does take time. Are we planning to? Okay, so that's a good question actually. Since the launch of the game, every stream we did, the one question that came back every time was, when are large ships coming? Large ships are here.
Large ships are finally here.
Nah. Do we have plans to introduce any new small ships?
Small ships, yes. I think what's important is that when we launch large ships for season 2, we want to make sure that the other ship sizes are not left in the dust. We don't want to every season from now we release a large ship and now small and medium ships no longer have any love. Right? Some players do like the elegance of those small and medium ships, and they are kind of well positioned as being more nimble compared to large ships which are hulkier and tankier, and it feels like a moving fortress. So when we consider small and large ships, we want to make sure that they fulfill a playstyle that is comparable to the large ships as well, right? So instead of tanking, perhaps that could be something like a more specialist ship, a more support ship, or even a high DPS but maybe faster ship that can circle around your enemies. So with every ship, small, medium or large, we want to make sure that they do have something that makes them special, and also allows players to realize that fantasy of being able to okay, I'm a small ship, but I can contribute as much as a large ship as well. So yes, we do have plans to introduce small ships in the future, but we need to make sure that those details and those gameplay archetypes are well fulfilled.
Great. Okay, we have 12 minutes left. We have about 50 questions left. So I'm going to ask you to do a very difficult exercise, which is I'm going to fire questions at you.
We're going to do a blitz round.
You have to answer three words maximum.
Sure. Let's go.
So do we have plans to introduce a new large ship in Season 3? And if so, can you tell us which one it is?
No.
No to both questions?
Okay. I'll take more than 3 words.
Okay, 5 words.
5 words. We are
studying
all ships.
Is there a ship coming in Season 3?
There is a ship that's coming.
Is it a large ship?
It is not a large ship.
Can you tell us what it is?
No.
Okay. More information soon. Are every large ships going to be able to deploy a small ship in the future?
No.
Are we working on allowing players to work on their ships and enter their cabins?
It's under consideration.
Are we planning to increase the fleet size to more than 40?
Yes, we are looking into ways.
More than 3 words, but I'd accept it.
We are looking into.
Are we planning to expand on or rework the fleet management system for manufacturers?
Improve the system, yes.
Are we planning to bring the auto-collect features to more territories?
It is a feedback that we are looking into.
Can you share more? Well, how do you share more details on this without more than 3 words? Can you share more information about item ascension feature and how we're going to improve it?
In the producer's letter.
When is it coming?
It's coming soon. We are trying to make sure that all of the functionality is working as expected, and is also something that will help address players. So yes, more details in the letter from the producer quite a few weeks back, but it is coming.
Are you removing the 60 rerolls cap?
No comment.
Okay.
But I know this is something that players really want to extend increase the number of rerolls, bring rerolls back, extend the cap. So it is something that we are looking into.
Cool. Are we planning to bring back the colors for world events and helm activities on the map?
Yes, we are planning to.
Are we working on any widgets to the HUD, like DPS, heal, threat meta, for basically to give more information to players on the battle performance in general through the UI?
Battle performance. So just to be clear, right? There are some. We don't want to crowd the screen with all of the different. Like for example, you see your groupmates' health now. We don't want to see what their loadout is, what their threat is. It gets very cluttered, right, on the screen.
That's like 20 words already.
Yeah, but on the HUD itself for different activities, players have been asking for some sort of battle recap, or like how much you have contributed for different activities. Like I mentioned earlier, we are looking into ways where contribution does play a part into activities, so that should most likely come together.
Okay. Are we planning to implement loadouts for Captain Vanity?
That's interesting. I think generally players do stick with one style. I know I stick to one style for Captain Vanity, but it is something that now that we have ship loadouts, we want to focus on at least the gameplay naval combat part of it first. But it is something that we can look into. Yeah.
This one is tricky. Are we what are our plans to ensure that our content rewards, the rewards you get from activities basically, is more balanced and diverse to avoid players having to farm one event repeatedly throughout the season?
Right. There are two different axes. One is the difficulty, one is the time, right? And so we want to make sure that along this two axes, the curve is appropriate. So we'll, as I mentioned earlier, we'll continue looking into not just meta balancing, but also reward balancing for the different activities. And like we discussed in a more longer term approach, it'll be less so about the specific activity, it's more about how much you contribute towards them.
Great. Are we planning to remove the cargo limit, like encumbrance and slot on ship inventory?
We are not specifically. I think it is a consideration. For now, actually, it's a topic that we are working on. We are looking at some of the gameplay elements and some of the mechanics that were useful at some point in time for the game, but maybe now less aligned with our goal in reinforcing the naval combat as the key gameplay element. So we're relooking things like harvesting, like weight limits, to see how we can adapt them or how we can streamline them so that it's less of annoyance and it is more of a help for players.
Great. What are our long-term plans for world tiers? Do we have plans to solve the issue where players feel like world tier is the place to go if you really want to progress past a certain level, encouraging basically low players to go there when they're not fully ready to go there? And do we have plans to introduce a world tier 3? Good luck answering that one in 3 words.
In season 2, we did world tier content separation, which allows us to cater content that is a bit more challenging for experienced players and content that is a bit simpler, and also introductory things like trying out ships from the past season. So those are separated into World Tier 1 or World Tier 2, and hopefully this will address the difficulty as well as provide an avenue for players to enjoy content. Let's say if you want to take a break from World Tier 2, World Tier 1 can be quite relaxing as well, and we can scale the rewards accordingly. Yeah. World Tier 3, it is something that was mentioned at least in the past 2 weeks internally. But we want to make sure that World Tier 2 is good first. Right now, there are still a lot of kinks to work out. There's a lot of fine-tuning that needs to be done first for that.
I think it's fair to say that there's some significant changes to how World Tier 1 and World Tier 2 are exposed to players coming with Season 3. There's already been a few changes with Year 2 Season 2, with like making sure certain events are in World Tier 1, certain events, more difficult events are in World Tier 2. Yep. I think there's more to come in Season 3. So.
Yep, we'll continue to work on it.
Last one before we take the last 5 minutes to answer questions from the chat. Are we planning to introduce more improvements to the wind and sailing mechanic?
Actually, a lot. Given that naval combat has been our focus in the past year or so, we realized that the wind and sailing mechanics and navigation in general has been a bit hasn't gotten that much love compared to that, and it really hurts because, like, for me personally, I do sail, so it's something that is really close to my heart. And for wind and sailing in general, we've done improvements in season 2, whereby now there are additional bonuses for you to follow the direction of the wind. We have wind gusts that speed you up, and also improve turning, right, when you're at a higher speed. There are more improvements in the works, and we are actively working on it. And I think our next area of focus, now that we have done a bit of improvements on sailing, is looking at wind. So it's something that we have not really touched that much since the launch of the game. We're going back there to revisit, to make sure that it is interesting again.
Okay, great. Now we have 4 minutes left to answer any question from the chat. I'm scrolling back up the chat. I know there was a lot of questions. Of course, now that we are at this point, I can't remember which ones we can actually answer. So how about you just shoot any question in the chat? We'll do our best to answer them. So first question, you said not all big ships get a small boat. Why?
For that in particular, not all large ships do. Okay, let's take it back. I mentioned that we want to make sure that each ship does have its own personality. It does have its own unique points, right? And the reason for not having that under consideration now, it's not confirmed, but we currently do not intend for all large ships to be able to deploy that, because then that would mean that now we need to make sure that that is also balanced. We have to consider that for all of the different large ships as well. And some large ships, you just want to take them out to deal as much damage as possible, right? You don't really have a need for that small ship. We want to give that that mechanic to a specific large ship.
Great. There was a question about the streamers on the Frigate.
Oh, we're working on it. It's something that players really want, to have all those pennants at the end of their ship's pass. So it's something that we are working on.
Yeah, there's also, I see quite a couple of questions about fixing the taunt effect. So I don't know if you can say anything specific to the taunt, but I think in general, if correct me if I'm wrong, I think when it comes to balancing, we are currently working on the next round of balancing.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about that? When is it due for? Do you know what we're focusing on?
Right. So it's a regular exercise that we have now committed to doing. We look at community comments, sentiment, as well as data, to see which areas of gameplay is underperforming. And we are not looking at specific equipment per se. We are not narrowing down to specific equipment, but we are looking at the broad themes, like tanking. Is it doing well? Taunt. Is it doing well? Is it overperforming? And that's where we can look at adjusting some of the different builds and some of the different pieces of equipment or different gameplay effects, for us to be able to make sure that that gameplay, playstyle, and archetype is where we want it to be. Yeah. So taunt included. We'll look into it.
Okay, great. There's also a couple of questions about when are we going to open up a new region on the map, and are we planning to implement a new players dens, and something that, like, some of the things that we discussed in the past, but we haven't really given any update anytime recently, basically. So
it is a huge undertaking.
Yes.
For not just opening up the map, but making sure that there's something new and interesting, and not just similar to the rest of the different parts. Filling it with content. It is a significant amount of time, but it's not something that we are closed off to. So we are still looking at ways in which we can make this interesting, make this exciting, but nothing too concrete at this point in time. Yeah.
Okay. There's also a very specific question. I don't know if you can answer. It almost sounds like it's a bug, but question about the Wolf cosmetic set that is advertised in the store banner. but it's not the set purchased. So don't know if you know, because that sounds very specific.
I'm not too familiar with the specifics. But
So-
if you have an issue with the game that you feel that it might be a bug,
Yes.
send it to the
So
bug
there's
reporter.
two options. If it's a bug, go to the bug reporter. It's the best way for us to identify what's happening and try to fix it. If it's not a bug, but more like a feedback, Reddit or Discord is the best way for us to get visibility on this, and we can look into what's happening for you.
I'll add on to that. One of the difficulties that we have with understanding some more difficult to reproduce bugs is that if they're not reported through the bug reporter, and if they're mentioned in Reddit or social media, it makes it very difficult for us to track down the logs, right? By reporting them through the bug reporter, we can check it in with your account's progression directly, and we can check the specific issue that you are facing. That makes it much easier for us to actually investigate the issue and make the fix come along a lot faster. So if you upvote or if you do report the bug itself, it does really help the team a lot. So if possible, please send them through the bug reporter.
Yes. Okay. We are running overtime, so I will just use my power as a host and community developer to answer or ask one last question that is very important to at least one player in the chat, but also to me personally. When are we adding cheese to the game?
When are we adding cheese? First, hippo nuggets. Now we have gotten a hippo
I
in the
mean,
game.
yeah, you've been asking for hippo nuggets for years now. They're moving on to the next topic, right? So
Cheese, I see.
we need to hurry up with the hippo nuggets. But I also saw a comment in the chat that kind of made a lot of sense. Now that we've implemented the hippo as a pet, it might be a bit questionable to implement hippo nugget as a food type.
Yeah, it's a bit questionable, but I think that in different parts of the world, there are a lot of different exotic food items. But on cheese itself, you need to let me know and let the team know what specific type of cheese. For example, I like camembert. I like truffle brie. But you might like, say, Gouda or some sort of other cheese. So you need to be a bit more specific.
I'll give you a list. I have my own personal list. But I'm going to give the committee a little task. So when it comes to food types, hippo nuggets, cheese, I saw something about turtle soup. Not sure about that one either. But if you have any ideas for food types, I think it's very cool. Like as you might have seen from the event that's happening right now, we have drinks, right, that give specific buffs. So if you have ideas like that, we are very eager to hear what type of food you'd like us to implement in the game and what kind of bonuses these type of food could get. Or even like maluses. Maybe it's a type of food that if you eat it, something bad happens to you. I don't know. Not saying we can, not saying we're going to start working on it right away and implement it for next season. But if you have cool ideas like that on things, little things we can add as a little note to the community, I think we'd be happy to.
Yeah, I think food is something that is very important in the region, in Singapore here, as well as to a lot of people's bellies. And I'll just share one fun thing that happened during the development of Skull and Bones. This was like maybe 2 years ago. Apparently that dedication to food also extends to members on the team, whereby somebody logged the bug and it's like, well, this doesn't look like the food that it's supposed to be, right? And they provided like comparisons and analysis, and it's like, oh, this is supposed to look like this, but it looks like fried rice instead. And it's like quite hilarious that but also very real that food is very important to all of us.
Okay. So Sam right here is gonna work on transforming this into a crunchy, tasty little nugget very soon. Okay, so yeah, we ran out a bit of time, but I think it was a very interesting exercise to answer as many questions as we could. We hope we gave you enough information to at least wait until the next stream. Full disclaimer here, we might be having another stream coming very soon. So thank you, Sam, for being with us once again.
Yeah.
Siddharth, are you still alive? Yes, he's okay. I hope you had fun, Siddharth, in the background. I hope it wasn't too much pressure. Yeah, like I said, we'll send you a post-mortem of your battle performance after the stream. So yeah, like I said, we might be having another stream coming very, very soon. So keep your eyes on social media. Let us know also what you think of this new format. If you think it's better, if you feel like the level information is a bit more, more information basically. I'm sure you always want more information, but like I said, hopefully we can do these more often and come up with more information on what's coming, how we're dealing with your feedback, how we're trying to prioritize things, etc., etc. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you once again to everybody for tuning in. We had a lot of people online. It was great. We know we couldn't answer to all of the questions. We'll try to follow up on them as much as possible. Keep them coming. Keep the feedback coming. Thank you very much for the support, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.